again, let me talk in this video about functions and details. So to get started, I will just, from my file, I create a new file. I will name it a simple function, simple. Okay. So now we have standards to work with Python. First of all, I have to write main, which is main. This is method statement, which is called some method name it main, and this method have to be implemented. So you have to go up and define def, the main of method, and have any code inside it. So yes, and here, yeah, I think I'm done, and there is no problem. But wait, let me talk in functions in details. You understand function have diff names. So think about you have word name to print hello, and you want to move it to function. Let me say you have hello and you have another word name it welcome to Python. This is basic how we'll come to Python. Now this is basic code how it's running. Hello, welcome to Python. Think about you need to move this code to function. So first of all, to work with function, so you say def, you define your function, you give it name. Let me give it name display. So you could give it any name you would like. You open a bracket, you add your input parameters. I don't have any input parameters here. Then I close it. Then I add semicolon. I go down. I need these two lines to be part from this function. I take them and move them here. Now I have function, name it display, that have two command inside it. Now when I want to call this function here, just I say, hey, display. And that is just if I run it, he will say, well, hello, welcome to Python. Now what the benefit of the function? Think about you need to call this function 4 times. What you will do, you say, just repeat this call 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. So really basic and simple idea. Now you have 4 calls for that function. See, so the idea of function is you just minimize your code. You have number of codes and you want them in different places. You just move them to function and you call them from different places. If I just add breakpoint here and I try to debug it to show you what is going on, if you see when he reached this step, he stopped down. So now I will not click this one because this one will not go to the details. I will click this one, so he will go to this function. See, he print, then he went back. He complete, then he go to the next step. He go print, then he continue. Go print, continue. Go print, continue. This is the idea. This is how to define very simple function, but we could define too many different type of function. Think about you want to define function for do sum operation. So what do you think sum operation? You name it sum. What do you think the input parameter for this function? When you want to do sum, what you need? You need 2 numbers to do sum operation. You need number 1 and you need number 2. Is that right? Yes. Then what the process you want to think you want to do? You want to do sum. So z equal number 1 plus number 2. So you are taking the two input numbers and sum them. You could return this value by saying return z. What difference between function have return and function doesn't have return? When you say return, that means when anyone who call this function, he expect any specific value will come. But if you don't mention return, you just call the function without any expectation, and you will see it in seconds. So I expect this function accept 2 numbers, do some operation, return value for me. So instead calling that one 3 times, let me do it 1 time, and let me call the second function, which is sum. Sum expect 2 numbers. Let me suppose I want to do some operation between 10 and 12. But if you see, it have to be error here because this function sum, when you call it, he do some operation, return value for me. This value have to be saved here. So let me suppose z equal or whatever results equal. You're just expecting results. Expect result coming from this function. Then you, for example, print this results. Okay, results hopefully. So now if we just re-debug the application and show you what is going on. So he be in this step, display, he go to display function, he execute 2 steps, which is show us this results. Then he went, see what I'm clicking, he went to the second function, which is this function, sum. See, I send 10 and 12, so I expect number 1 should be 10, number 2 should be 12, because the first one will equal the first one, second one will equal the second one. So I expect two numbers. He will do z, which is sum operation, 22, then he returns z for me. So the result still doesn't have any value. When he get it, now result have 22. See, when I do return, that means I'm expecting value that coming back to my program when I call the function. Then I just did a print that function. So if you see here, you see hello 22. So think about it, sum in this way, equal dot format for this result. Okay, so think about, I have number of steps for a summing operation. Hopefully I did not do any mistake. Number of numbers, like I doing 12 1 a different process. So just rerun the function again, you will see all the results. See sum 22, sum 174, 1, sum whatever. So the idea behind this video is this: if you want to define a function, write diff, then give function name. If you have input parameter, add them. If you don't have it, just open a bracket closes, then add this semicolon. Write your code. If you have return value, write return. If you don't have, keep it this way. If you have like this function that receiving two numbers, so you do process and you expect to return value, you just return value. You don't have to return value. Maybe you don't have, you just want to just write here print z. You just print this way, sum equal, then format, and for that you could do that, but in this case you will not print them here, you just send them. The idea that I want to show you, if you send value to the function, you don't have to expect to have input value. So this should be the sum process, and this is the sum process. So still you're still printing, there's some, but you don't expect any value. But you could expect value, which is we will use it a lot, how to return values from functions. And yes, that's exactly what I want to share with you. So hopefully you understand everything, and hopefully the function be so clear for you. Here we done, and thank you for watching.